NHL best bets for Monday, January 5th, 2026. Still feels weird saying that. Welcome to PuckTime, guys. WagerTalk TV. Andrew, Carmine, and the Prez with you. We got some NHL plays for you. Sides, totals, props, plays of the day. You name it, we have it all here on PuckTime. And I know you guys are excited about multiple sports right now, not just hockey. Feel free to talk about it all. We'll try and keep it mostly centered around hockey on this show. A lot of movement right now in some of these games. My odds logic page lighting up like a Christmas tree when it comes to the hockey page and, of course, the football pages as well. Carm, good morning to you, man. How was your weekend?
Weekend was so-so. Saturday was awesome, 6-1. Yesterday was pretty much a wash. Some crazy games. I only had one game in the NHL yesterday, and somehow Columbus found a way of blowing a 4-1 lead against Sid the Kid, who scores in OT. That was the only hockey play for me. Yeah, your guy, whatever. But other than that, I think overall winning weekend. I'm pretty happy about it. Oscar, I see your message in our chat. Thank you very much for joining me for a full year of all sports. And if you're on the X, drop your X name and I will follow you, so you can send me messages even on games that I don't post. I will always try and reply to you guys and let you know what my thoughts are in the game. But we got Prez coming in from sunny Florida. I think he went to watch the Winter Classic, either that or he went to golf. Utah and the Rangers he's going to do. We're going to look at Detroit and Ottawa. Is it a blip for the Red Wings, or are they in the midst of what could be a losing skid? Minnesota and the LA Kings. Second game between these two teams in LA. And same game parlay if we've got one. And if we don't, Andrew will tweet it out. And then a pod play. We're going to look to see if we can get that pod play over $7,500 with a winner on tonight's skid. With that said, hello, Prez.
Yo, boys, how you doing, man? Nice to be here. Happy Monday. What?
I was going to say this to you before the show. I went to watch the Ravens game last night and the Canada Czech Republic game. Nelson, who was with me, showed me a video of your golf. You golfing in Florida. That was a pretty nice swing you had going there. You must be taking lessons.
Well, lessons are behind me. No more lessons. I suck at golf. I'm at one with sucking at golf. I played 9 holes. I came down here to spend time with my parents. I'm also playing a lot of poker at the Hard Rock starting on Thursday. And I might golf today. I might golf with Joe Ranieri. So we'll find that out later. I'm going to speak to him about it. Thanks for having me, boys. I gotta run though. I got 3-4 minutes. So right. New York Rangers, Utah game. Is that what I'm doing?
Dive into it, Prez. Dive into it.
Look, I mean, every time I come on here, I give out the under, and I'm going to stick with the under here as well. 5.5. If it was 6, this would be a client release. But as you guys know, I don't release over 6.5, and I don't really release under 5.5. So bottom line here is this Utah team. They're playing a lot of games that have 1 or 2 involved in it. New Jersey, they put up 1. New York Islanders, they allowed 2. And you go down all the way down. And this Utah team, 19-20 on the year to the under. But this is a team that either scores or they either don't score a lot or they play really good defensively. And they're playing the under team in all of hockey right now, 15-27 to the under, the New York Rangers, and another team that plays games with a lot of 1s and 2s. They just beat Florida 5-1. Florida put up 1. Other than that, this team, look, they have been, they're 4-6 to the under in their last 10. That means that they've played more overs than they have all year in their last 10. I'm not going to overthink this, guys. I honestly think this game is going to end 2-1 or 3-1. So I would take a flyer on 2-1 and 3-1 as an exact score. I think this game is a stone cold under. And my original thought sideways, guys, was the New York Rangers. They were minus 125 or so before I went to bed. They are now basically a pick 'em. So there's obviously a lot of money coming in on Utah. I have not researched why yet, but that would take me off of the New York Rangers. So the under is the only play I'm going to make today.
Yeah, Prez, and every game is independent, in the season, but it is tough to want to take the over with the New York Rangers.
Yes.
When they're averaging 1.94 goals per game at home.
Yeah.
At home, where you're supposed to, it is supposed to be your fortress, kind of like they talk about in Vegas, where teams come in and they're afraid to play you. No one's afraid to play the New York Rangers at the moment going into New York. And this is their first game of 2026. They return home from a 6-game East Coast trip. They were in Florida for the Winter Classic. So we'll see. Until something changes, you just can't play any Ranger overs at any point. It should be 5.5 every time they play at home.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, Carm, I mean, I don't know what you do about their home record. 5-10-3 home. They've won 5 games in regulation at home. I have to believe that is going to turn around. I have to believe that the Rangers are going to be a bet on team at home moving forward. I'm not there yet, and I'm not betting the Rangers tonight, but I cannot believe that they're going to go 5-10-3 again.
Yeah. You want to say it, but we had the same discussion with the Rangers last year. It's like last year we blamed injuries. And, these guys out of the lineup, Panarin out of the lineup, Adam Fox out of the lineup for extended periods of time. They lose Kreider, but they traded Kreider away. Trading away to someone who can score, Andrew, is never a good thing on a team that's not scoring goals.
Yeah, and just like an overall key guy for the depth of that team, too. Like when the big guys aren't stepping up, you need to have someone like that can kind of be, a perfect like fit, sort of. So, Prez, I want to ask you though, like, do you think that like how much do you write into, like, you talked about the movement there in that game? And I know you mentioned the total more so, but like for me, the past little while, I'd say I've really added it into my handicapping, especially having access to odds logic, like watching these numbers and stuff. I find it like it's harder and harder for me to make plays overnight. I will do it, and I've actually been, sniping some picks I like more overnight lately, but because of what you just mentioned there, sometimes I do like to see when the dust settles. How important is that to you with looking at the number before you go to sleep, and then when you wake up, seeing what the number is?
Don't factor that in at all, Andrew. The only reason that I would factor that in is to see if there was an injury or a goaltender change. Other than that, the day I start caring about what other people do is the day I quit betting.
Okay. All right.
So, that's that. I mean, it's literally as cold as that. Could care less. And for the record, I think 97% of all people who bet on sports regularly lose. Again, couldn't care less what other people do, although I obviously would like them to bet my plays. I have a promo, guys. Me and Joe. Full disclosure, I'm piggybacking on this man. Joe Ranieri, my God. The second most profitable handicapper at WagerTalk last year, absolutely dominating every sport. And now we've got a buy one, get one free. You get a week of Joe for $99. You get a week of me for free. You get a week of me for $99. You get a week of Joe for free. No promo code required. $99 a week of each of us. You head over to my page or his page, and that promo will be there. Totally piggybacking on his genius, boys. I got no qualms about it.
That's a great deal. Nonetheless, that's a great deal. A 3-day all access is like $69. You're basically getting 7 days of each of you.
And that includes the wild card.
$49 each. Yeah.
And that includes all the wild card games. So it's an amazing, incredible deal. Guys, please take advantage of that. Look, lots of love, everybody. I'm in Boca for the next couple of weeks till the 15th of January. I'm playing at the Hard Rock Seminole on Thursday. It begins. If anyone's there or in the area, DM me on Twitter. Kick ass, boys. And let's all win, man. Let's all freaking have a monster week of sports betting.
Prez, enjoy the sun. I'm jealous of you, man.
Good.
Enjoy the sun.
Yeah,
It's good
enjoy the
for you.
sun, enjoy
Enjoy it.
golf, and good luck in the poker tournament, man. We'll be waiting for some constant updates from you.
Okay, thanks, guys. Be good.
Carm, this comment here, like I gotta say that we're all entitled to our own opinions, especially with betting. And like for me, I actually disagree. Like for me, it actually is important to look at. Like I do like looking at movement. Some people say that in hockey, it's not as important to look at. Goose, I love you, but I think that when you look at this here, like for me, especially overnight flips, Carm, the overnight flips are important to me. When it's a team that opened up minus 130 and then this morning they're minus 135, yeah, who cares? But when a team opens up minus 132 and the game turns into minus 115 at South Point for the other team, that should mean something to all of us, I think, in my opinion. Maybe some people don't, but I think that there's something to be said about moves like that, where there's a complete flip, and I get what Prez was talking about. It helps you indicate injuries or different things like that. But people say the NHL isn't the strongest market, and I get that compared to college sports or NFL, of course, and things like that. But there still is a market for it, and I like using odds logic to know what's going on with the market.
Yeah, I think the most important thing is when I'm seeing a number increase or decrease, if I see a number flipping from one team to the other team on one of these 120s, 130s, that all of a sudden becomes like a pick 'em, is it just makes me head to not just social media, but the team reporting sites. Follow the team reporters who are there for the morning skates. Sometimes you'll get some information that isn't readily available normally. You just don't see it, but they're at the morning skate. They can report who's in the or they always report who's in the starters crease, so you get a better idea. I want the number one goalie if my write-up on a game is going to be around who the goalie is for the game.
Right.
Kind of like the game we're going to talk about right now with Ottawa and Detroit, Andrew. And for the guy who asked what Prez's play was, because he missed it, Prez likes the under in the game, Utah in the Rangers game. But you look at Ottawa, you have Ullmark, who's away for personal reasons. Marilainen's in goal. He started the last game against Winnipeg, who don't have much firepower on that team, and they're a team that's struggling. And we keep thinking they're going to turn it around, and they just can't. I watched their coach Andrew talk about the game after they lost 4-2 to Ottawa, and he's like, we get opportunities. We look like we're going to score. He goes, we take one step forward and then we take two steps back. Like, this is a guy who I hate to say, with every loss, he sounds more and more defeated as a coach, and it's tough because Winnipeg was so good last year and they're not this year. But they lose 4-2 in Ottawa. Marilainen played well. That was his first game, Marilainen, in his last, I think, 10 starts, where his save percentage was over 9. That's not the kind of goal you want if you're facing a team like Detroit, who probably wants to see somebody other than the Pittsburgh Penguins on the ice right now after losing back-to-back games to them. Because Detroit can score. They're averaging 3.38 goals per game over the last 8 games on the road, going 5-2-1. So we know they can win on the road. We know they can score. Can they do it tonight? What do you think?
Well, Carm, overall, I'll just say that, like, it's so crazy to watch the race of the Atlantic Division right now. I know I've talked about it a lot, but some of these teams going on massive runs. Like the Maple Leafs, I think they had like a point in 9 of their last 10 games or 8 of their last 10 games. Buffalo Sabres went on a 10-game winning streak. All of these teams did so much, and yet not too much changed in the standings, right? Like the Ottawa Senators get a couple wins in a row. Like a lot of stuff is going on where, all of these teams were on a really impressive stretch. So what I think is really important, although people talk about the 4-point games, it's also important to win the games against the non-division opponents. Because if you win that, those are the ones that can really add up as well. But of course, if you win those divisional opponents, they are 4-point games pretty much. So you need to win those. So again, this one is huge for them. Now, I'm still going to die on the hill that Ottawa is an underrated commodity in the NHL. I still think that they're not getting the credit that they deserve in this one. But when I look at this number here, Carm, I'm going to look at the first period over here. I just think that the way that Ottawa's playing, the speed that they're coming out with their game, the possession that they're holding right now, according to my my analytics, they're one of the top possession teams last 10 games, 5-on-5. But also looking at the shots on goal Detroit creates. They have a really good shooting percentage. They've got a really good top six. I like the first period over 1.5 goals here. I think we get a good start to this one. I think we get a desperate Detroit team. Carm, you and I, we talked about this game on the show we did together on Friday afternoon. And we pretty much said with Ottawa and Winnipeg, Winnipeg's desperate, but then so is Ottawa, right? That's what I say. It was like, hey, look, and you were talking about the odds in the game. It's like, you know what? We could back Winnipeg, but as we've been saying lately on the show, the only reason we would have backed Winnipeg in that game is because, well, they're super desperate. But guess what? So was Ottawa. And a lot of that comes down to their speed. Now you've got a Detroit team that they looked flat in not one, but both of those games against Pittsburgh, I thought. So I think that this is going to be an important game to have really fast pace in the first period. So I think it's going to be a good one for both teams. I actually have a best bet available on the side at WagerTalk, but I think we're going to get off to a fast start. I think Detroit uses their speed. I think the possession right now that Ottawa is carrying and holding helps them get off to a good start as well. So over 1.5 goals in the first period is intriguing for me. And Carm, I'll tell you, I hate to be the guy that says, oh, I wish I did this, wish I did that. But looking back to that Winnipeg-Ottawa game on the weekend, that's one that I do wish I jumped on because it's a similar thing to Buffalo's winning streak. It's the same thing with losing streaks. Like, I don't know how many times I faded Winnipeg during their streak. And sometimes you think to yourself, well, they've lost 6 or 7 in a row. There's no way they can keep losing, but they did. And then you don't really want to jump on a streak too late, right? It's kind of like last year and the year before, you used to forecast schedules for teams, right? Sometimes I feel like I missed out on a streak. And if Ottawa's going to get on a run, maybe they can do that. I don't want to miss out on it, but Detroit, they're a great team. I don't want to miss out on them bouncing back either. So I'm going to stick with the first period over here.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a shot on the dog here. I just think getting plus 130-ish on the Red Wings, and I think that line is probably going to dip. It could get as low as plus 120, but at plus 125 and some 130s on the screen right now, I think it's worth a shot. I get it. They lost back-to-back games against Pittsburgh. Obviously, the first one was an OT one. They looked a little flat in the second one. But the fact that Pittsburgh, it's almost like a form thing. The fact that Pittsburgh followed up those 2 wins by coming back from a 4-1 deficit against Columbus and winning that game in OT, it shows you that if Pittsburgh had lost that game and got bombed by Columbus, I think my thought process might be a little different. And I would think, well, Detroit just played 2 bad games against a Pittsburgh team that could only beat them, and that was it. But no, Pittsburgh has some life. They're playing well. I want to look at it as a small blip on what has been a good season for the Detroit Red Wings. I'm not ready to give up on the Wings. I think you're getting the fact that they're not facing the number 1 goalie for Ottawa in this spot. Merrilainen can have some really bad days. You just got to get a lot of pucks on the guy. His goals, his save percentage is under 9. I think it's at 875. I think his goals against average is just below 4. That's not signs of a good goalie, and that's why he is the backup. So if this Red Wings team can get some pucks on goal and some good opportunities, they could win this game. So I'm taking the dog in this one. I just can't. I think, to your point, yes, Ottawa a little underrated, but I don't want to lay $1.50, $1.60 in this spot with the Sens against a Wings team that are probably coming in a little miffed after those back-to-back losses to the Penguins.
I get it. And, it's funny, Carm, because a lot of times we love to back the desperate team in the back-to-back and the team that lost and, the bounce-back angle. And it was just weird to see, especially early in that game. They didn't really come into that one super pissed off. It really didn't seem like it. But, of course, wish Allmark all the best, and we don't know what he's going through or what's going on in his personal life. But from a betting perspective, Carm, I'm looking at moneypuck.com, and the goals saved above expected. Linus Allmark was the dead last goalie in the league at minus 18.3. Next to him was Binnington, 14.7. But this is where it gets tough. Merrilainen is the third worst at minus 9.9. So it's like you look at it and think, okay, Allmark is gone, but he really hasn't been that great. And then you look, like you said, at the backups numbers, third worst in the whole league. So it's, part of me, because one of my good friends is a Senators fan, because as you know, around here, we don't have an NHL team where I am. So you kind of just pick your team. And so I was asking him, like, what do you think about this Sens team right now? And he said, well, I'm worried about the defense. And if I'm worried about the defense, I'm really worried about the goaltending. So it is interesting, Carm, because I think that if you're a team going against this team, like maybe shot props could be a good idea tonight for the Red Wings. Like you said, get some shots on Merrilainen, test him early and see how he's going to do, because those are bad numbers. And Jonathan here, he said, if Cam Talbot starts for Detroit, the Sens have lost more games to a former goalie than any other team in the league. Wings 3 straight first period overs, and Ottawa's gone over in the first period in 5 of their last 6. Interesting stuff. That former goalie stuff's always interesting. The former goalie. The way I look at it, though, is that if a goalie has played for a ton of teams, it's not the same as if they only played for 1 or 2 teams, right? If you've made your way around the whole league, you don't really care about playing a former team anymore.
Yeah. No, I get it. There's what do they call layman? That I think it is the term. I could be wrong. Somebody will correct me in the chat if I am. They just make their way around the league and play for a bunch of different teams. And I don't think you actually think about it. It's different than someone who has played for one team for 10 straight years and then faces his former side. So I wouldn't put too much stock into it. It'll be interesting. I think I would have to think it's going to be Gibson in goal tonight for them. He has been good. You look at his starts and what he's allowed. He's had one bad start, I have to guess, if you look at it, I think is over his last 10 starts, one bad start. The other one were pretty much all quality starts. He loses 5-2 to Carolina, allows 4 goals in that one. Obviously an empty netter, but he allowed only 2 in that game against Pittsburgh, in which they lose 4-1 because of the empty netter. Allows only 1 in the game against Winnipeg. 3 to the Dallas Stars, 2-2, a shutout against Chicago, 3 a shutout against Vancouver, and 3 against the Kraken. So all pretty much quality starts, all with like save percentages above 9, with the exception of a couple of games. He's playing well. I would rather see him as the number 1 goalie in Detroit than I would Cam Talbot. So journeyman, thank you. Nebraska knows. I really appreciate it. And Nebraska knows is a fantastic guy. The Detroit man goes to the games and sent me a very nice message on the weekend, which I really appreciated. So, Andrew, I'm sticking with Detroit to get the upset win. Now, we very rarely see this, but we've seen it a couple times, Andrew. The same teams playing in the same venue over 2 or 3 days. Minnesota and the LA Kings in this one. Where are you going on this one? And then I will give you my thoughts.
I think we're starting to see more of this, and I don't know what's going on with the NHL, Carm. Like, is there a money issue going on with the NHL that can't afford to spread out the travel? They got to just get that in while they're there. They got to, what I think the problem probably really was the World Juniors is going on in Minnesota. So they said, you know what, the World Juniors is going on in Minnesota. Let's just have you guys play back to back against the exact same team here. That works a little bit better for us. So. And of course, that's had a lot to do with Minnesota being on the road for a little bit of time. So I look forward to seeing what their play is like when they get back home. They played, of course, the Jets, Knights, Sharks, Ducks, now Kings. And of course, after that one, they'll be home on next Saturday. So they have one more game against the Kraken, and then they'll make their way home. But when I look at this one here, I got to look at taking this Wild team. I do. I like the bounce back factor, but overall, a lot of my analytical numbers will say that they're the clear team. Last 10 metrics across the board. Los Angeles, to me, their defense is just clearly slipping. They're giving up too much. They're allowing far too many high danger chances. This is a team that is not the LA Kings that we used to know. And if we have two teams that play relatively the same style, then I want to back the team that's in revenge mode and the team that I still trust to not be as leaky defensively. So when I look at it, Carm, I usually like looking at the team total overs, as you know, but this is actually going to be one of those days where I look towards the team total under for the team that I'm betting against. I feel like that's the way I can get the best value. It's the way I can get the best number. And I'm actually going to take the team total under 2.5 goals for the LA Kings. Now, looking at odds logic right now, you got to shop around and find the best price because each book kind of has a little bit of a different number here. But I'm seeing plus money, plus 110, plus 115. Minnesota Wild to lock it down and play a good defensive game. Because as much as I look at LA Kings, their defense struggling, I think that Minnesota is a big bounce back team. They didn't look great in their last game offensively, defensively, and they're going to want to lock it down and play better. And some teams, I talk about this with a junior podcast that I host, Carmen. A lot of times in the junior hockey world these days, they're doing back-to-backs against the same team to limit the travel. And coaches like this, but players don't. Any coach I've ever talked to about these situations, they enjoy it because they get the chance to have their team right the wrongs that they did. The players, they don't really feel excited about it. They're like, oh, man, we just played these guys. Like, I don't want to play them again. And I think the coaches, they get a chance to go into the film room, immediately correct some of the wrong things. So I'm going to take LA team total under 2.5. I think still to this day, at their core, Minnesota, when they play well, Carm, I think they're a defensive team. What do you think?
Yeah, a lot of numbers obviously point to Minnesota in this one, Andrew. And if you can bring up that image that I dropped in our Slack, but to talk about these two, I might as well integrate the pod play into this one. So if you guys give me a second, we'll get that one up on the screen for you guys. So you'll know my thoughts on this game because it is the Minnesota Wild. The Wild, their last 14 games.
I missed the background, man. I missed the black background. What happened? You were doing so well. No need for the fancy background. Come on.
So you have to admit, I think, the Minnesota, I think, is the right side in this one. Minus 115. The last 14 games, they have one regulation loss only. They're 10-1-3. And that regulation loss was the Colorado Avalanche, who give a lot of teams losses in regulation. So they picked up points in 13 of 14 games. They have the third best road record in the NHL or in the Western Conference this year. And they're playing an LA team that is, I think, 2-8 or 3-7 their last 10 games, but has the second worst home record. 16 points is all they've accumulated at home, only ahead of the Vancouver Canucks, who have 11. Minnesota Wild, they'll end up splitting these two games. So give me the Wild minus 113. Minus 115 in this one as your pod play.
The Minnesota Wild, Carm, $7,000. $7,000 for that now.
Yeah,
not too bad.
We're trying to get it higher. So if I had a couple pod plays on the weekend. So if you guys are following me on the X, and you should be at Carmine Bianco WT, I posted the images on there. The first one won. It was a Saturday game. Tampa Bay and San Jose over 1.5 first period. That hit after 4 minutes. And then unfortunately on Sunday, my pod play was also my client play. And Columbus somehow found a way to throw away a 4-1 lead and allow a tying goal with 12 seconds left in that game to kill the pod play, or else we would be well over 7,700 and going into this new week. This is a huge week in the NHL. So many games. I spent the weekend going over the cards, travel schedules, and I absolutely love this week. So it's going to be a big week for me. A lot of action, I think, in the NHL. Andrew, you have a same game parlay, or are you going to tweet one out?
I do. And I got to say, Carmen, it's kind of funny because I was thinking that there were going to be some of these players that didn't make the Olympic teams that were going to be pissed off and score some goals. But actually, the guys that have made the team have been the guys that have played well recently. Tom Wilson, he gets named to the team, and he scores 2 goals immediately. So something I've looked at prop-wise, and I actually did a video on the weekend talking about that. A couple of these guys that have been pretty strong have been the guys that actually made the Olympics for whether it be Team Canada or Team USA. All right, guys, this one isn't the biggest same-game parlay or prop parlay by any means, but I do like this one quite a bit here. We've got 4 picks for 2 games. Brady Tkachuk and Drake Batherson playing on the same line here. They have the home ice. Drake Batherson always plays well with Tkachuk. He missed him while he was out. Tkachuk missed a lot of time, guys. And now these 2 guys are back together, working together on the second line. A lot of high volume with shots for both of these guys. And when their line is on the ice, they spend a lot of time in the offensive zone. These 2 guys together are minus 130. Now, the next one, this is where you get a good plus 145 here. You can get Nazem Kadri and Igor Sharangovich at plus 144. You put all 4 of these together, you get plus 331. Shop around. Make sure you get the best price possible. We have no affiliation with any sports book here on PuckTime. But, guys, that one is a great one because you know what? Kadri has been leading the way, but Sharangovich is where all the value is. He's about plus 125, plus 130, sometimes alone just to get a point. But Kadri, Sharangovich, Batherson, and Tkachuk, all 4 of those guys to get the job done. And I'm not going to lie, Carm, the start of the season with the same gamers, we cashed a 7-1, 8-1, 9-1. I'm going to keep it rolling with these 3-1s, these plus 350. We're not going to get too until we start piling these wins back again. We're going to keep these 3 because the 3-1s are hitting, and the plus 200s. And a couple days ago, we did 3 sets of pairs. And I told people, don't just do, a 6-game parlay, a 6-person parlay. Make sure you do all the pairs. And, they're starting to hit those plus 200s, plus 250. So the guys don't always do that. Wash Redskins says no NHL for 20 days in February. Olympics, brother. It's the Olympics. It's the Olympic break. So we'll have to make sure, Carm, that we figure out which teams to back outside of the break because some guys are going to have a lot more rest than others.
Yeah, there'll be plenty of action still. There's tons of
Olympic
soccer
action
going on.
Hey, Olympic
and
action.
I'll have some Olympic stuff up as well too across different sports because a lot of these international ones I do take part in just because it's proven profitable over the last little while. But yeah, that's about it. For me, a little shorter show than normal, but 2 plays up in the NHL over at WagerTalk. And we'll start loading some plays as part of Customer Appreciation Day as well, too. Wild card weekend coming up. So we'll see how that goes. The NFL season's over. It's a shame we don't have like 12, 13, 14 games going on anymore. It is thinned down. Soccer will return tomorrow. I swept every game on that I played and released for clients on the weekend in soccer. So I'm skipping today and moving on to tomorrow where there's some good games as well too. Those will be available a little later today. And bowl action. I'm going to have some bowl plays up. I'm 14-5-1 with the bowl plays. I'm on a great run right now. I think that's the 3rd best record over at WagerTalk. I don't have a play in the bowl game today, but I do like Montana State laying the 10.5 points. I think this team's they're a very good team. They lost their first 2 games of the season, one of them to Oregon, of course, and they've pretty much run the board in every other game and putting up winning by double scores in each one. I think the Bobcats win this one. So Montana State as a free play as well too for you guys today, and that one goes this evening at 7:30 p.m. I believe. Andrew, tell us what you got up at WagerTalk and close it out.
Yeah, thanks to all of you guys that hopped on my late night college basketball play. We're doing the team totals. We're doing totals with college basketball, not as much the sides, mostly the team totals. Trusting my analytics, trusting my my websites that I use, and we did cash a nice ticket. Flew over by like 20 points, and those can always feel really, really good. NHL, look, we're starting to get it going here, guys, into 2026. Past couple of days have been pretty good. Did lose last night on the Vegas Golden Knights, and That's not exciting. You don't like to lose one, especially when you have favorites like that. But we are in action with not one, but 2 4% plays in the NHL for Monday night. Let's get this week off to a really, really good start here, guys. And of course, you can always join Carmine or myself for 7-day, 30-day, or 90-day packages at WagerTalk.com. Any questions, of course, you can reach out Carmine at Carmine Bianco WT and myself at McInnis Picks on X. Thanks for watching, guys. You got Wager Talk today coming up at 12 o'clock Eastern time and all kinds of great content across the channel. Do us a favor and hit the like button. It helps us out more than you guys would believe. Best of luck today. We'll see you guys next time.